Choose life. Choose running away from your problems and solving them later. Choose hanging with the people you hate and choose not seeing the people you miss most. Choose education. Choose dropping out and satisfying no one. Choose normal, weird, and everything in between. Because deep down, you know you're cool. Cooler than your ex-girlfriend who's now dating your best friend. Choose happiness over pain and depression when you know they're all the same. Choose responsibility. Choose love because you know that deep down someone truly cares about you. Alright, that's the best British accent that I can do. Don't judge me. Judge. Judge me. Alright, so Trainspotting 2 is directed by Danny Boyle, who did Trainspotting 1 and 28 Days Later. So let's talk about the storyline of T2 Trainspotting. Now, earlier in the year, I did a review over the trailer, and I fell in love with it immediately when I first saw it. At that point, I had never seen the first film, so after watching the trailer for the second, I decided, hey, why not? Let's go see the first film. And at that point, it was still on Netflix, so I decided to give it a shot, and I absolutely loved it. It was crazy, super trippy, a lot of cool shots, and it's Danny Boyle, so you can't really get a lose-lose situation here. So I fell in love with the movie, and I love the way the ending of the film happened, and I love the monologue of him saying, choose life, choose everything in between, things like that. It's awesome. I can't say it without trying to use a British accent, because it just doesn't sound the same. I hope you guys enjoyed the opening to this review, because I thought that was kind of cool. But anyways, it is the continuation 20 years later of the Trainspotting movie. Sorry, I'm like getting out of camera. Not trying to do that. But it's 20 years later after the events of the first film, and basically they're all trying to reunite together, but they all have some of their past that they need to face. So you have the returning characters, Renton, Sick Boy, Spud, and Francis, and they are all pretty much in the same position that they were 20 years ago, except now they're trying to live a better life. And so, really, they are, though, but they're not at the same time. So, it basically it shows that Renton is back in the hometown where the first movie takes place, and he sort of starts to reconnect with all of his old friends, first one being Spud, I'm pretty sure, and he sort of sees that he's been the same. He hasn't really changed since the 20-year interval of the gap that they've been away with each other. He's still a junkie, he's still going to AA meetings, he's trying to get clean, but he just can't seem to get away from the heroin. And then you have Francis's character who's still in prison and he's trying to get out. He's getting denied parole, and yet he wants to sort of escape and be his own man again and sort of raise his son the way he wanted him to be in the first place. Although that doesn't really work out the way he thinks it does later on down the road in this film. And then you see the other two characters. I think Sick Boy is doing this business and he's trying to get a brothel started, and he's with this girl named Veronica, I believe, and they are sort of a thing, but not really, and they steal from people in order to get money, in order to do dirty business, which is the brothel, and basically just trying to make money and live off of the heroin money. So now he's doing cocaine instead of the heroin, and you got problems. So that's where we're going to stop here, and then we're going to go into some other stuff about this film that I thought was really cool, including some of the really awesome shots that you see throughout this film. I gotta tell you guys, I really needed to sit through and watch this film. This has been a really hard month for me, just personal-wise. Not going to get into that, but this film hit me hard, and I know I didn't watch this film 20 years ago when it came out. I think I watched it last year, but just seeing the same characters return and have sort of the same, relationship that they did back then, just a little bit more pissed off at each other, that was really cool to see. And this movie relies a lot on flashbacks, and so you don't really need to see the first one, but I would say still go see the first one because it's really good, and I don't know if it's better than the second. A lot of critics were saying the second one isn't as good as the first, but I do personally think that the second one is better. And maybe that's because I just watched the first one recently and not 20 years ago, so That makes sense to me, alright? But for me personally, I think the second film is better. The soundtrack's great, you got the song from the trailer at the end of the movie, you got some other really cool songs that fit the scenes well, and probably some songs you've never even heard of, and that was really cool to see, especially the way Danny Boyle makes his shots. You have, again, really cool shots, his direction is amazing, it's crazy, and it's like that throughout the entire film. There's not just one shot or two shots that stood out to me. It was like that throughout the entire film. And when a director can do that to me and make me interested in every single shot that makes up every single scene, that's awesome. And that just makes the film 10 times better than what it is. And so I really fell in love with that. Also, it's funny, it's sad, it's sexy, it's got all the emotions that you want in a nostalgic film. And that is seeing your returned characters in the same situation as they were before, but trying to do something new. And that is awesome that Danny Boyle can pull that off with the same cast, with the same sort of originality that the first script had, and a really awesome monologue about choosing life over everything else and what life has to offer in what life is. So the last part probably didn't make sense, but I'm trying to make it sound like this movie, guys, will change you. At the end of the credits it says be moved, and guys, I was moved. I really was, and I almost cried during this film. I didn't, thankfully, but just the fact that it could get me almost to tears should tell you how much you care for these characters and that you actually want them to succeed and not do the heroin and not do the cocaine and not go to prison and not mess up their lives, even though it is already messed up and even more messed up than it was before in the first film when they were already messed up. So it's just, it gets crazy, guys, but this movie is crazy, and it's really trippy, and I think if you're a fan of the first film, you're gonna love the second one, if not even better. That was me in my case, but for the people that watched it 20 years ago, it might not be the same. You guessed it, guys. This film gets an excellency for all the reasons that I pretty much just explained to you in this review. It is my favorite film of 2017 so far. You guys can look through all my other videos and see the other movies that I've seen. I have missed a couple, but really, really bad films, so they're not even probably worthy to watch. But I do want to watch the ones that I missed and maybe not review them, but just say that I saw them so that I can really, truly put these better films over the worst films, and that way I know that I made the right decision for my top 10 best films of the year list and top 10 worst. So as of now, though, T2 Trainspotting is going to be my number one film of 2017 so far. I will let you guys know if this changes throughout the year, because obviously I'll still be making videos for you guys. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you like the first Trainspotting better than the second, if you haven't seen the first Trainspotting, and what you're expecting to see from the second Trainspotting. Thank you guys for watching, and also let me know in the comments below what your favorite Danny Boyle film is. Thank you guys for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.